and welcome back. Today we're looking at Alpha episode 16 of season 6, and as the most alpha male to ever alpha male, who better to talk about this episode than me? I mean, just look at these guns. Premiering March 28th, 1999, Alpha follows Mulder and Scully as they investigate a dog that can shapeshift, I guess, and a woman who causes Scully to get a little more than territorial. The episode begins on the freighter Tianku. Oh, thank God it's not the Yamcha coup. Classic Fong, always a chicken shit. The freighter is carrying a mysterious crate, which has all the men spooked. I don't know what's so scary though, I mean those piercing red eyes, that means it's a friend. So after pissing this creature off and it nearly trying to escape, these guys decide the best course of action is to open the crate. This being the X-Files, obviously things go sideways, but why exactly are the police called in? The crate is still locked.
Who's in charge here? You?
Who are you?
My name is Detweiler. I'm the owner of this cargo.
For a second there, I thought his name was you, and this was gonna be some classic Abbott and Costello gag. Also, Mr. Detweiler, were you anywhere near the San Francisco area circa 1971? Anywho, the men open the crate again, which was somehow locked, and they find the bodies of the two Chinese men. But what about the crate monster? Also, did the monster kill the two men, then lock them inside? Just how smart is this thing?
Well, the Hong Kong Manifest has the cargo listed as a dog.
A dog? A dog?
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Remember the Taco Bell dog? I feel like everything went to hell once they got rid of him. Now, obviously, it couldn't be a dog. They generally aren't known for knowing how to use padlocks. Scully is rightfully skeptical because none of this really makes any sense. I like how she's trying to process all of this mentally, and the entire time Mulder's just making terrible dog jokes.
Doggone.
Yeah, I got it.
In the meantime, we've got, more dogs. I wouldn't worry too much about this spooky shadow dog, though. I'm sure he's friendly and definitely not murderous. Oh, well, it is a dog-eat-dog world, and, this guy's dead. Mulder and Scully show up to the freighter and meet a guy named Khan who's from Fish and Wildlife or something. It doesn't really matter because I'm sure he's gonna die later. Detweiler shows up and Mulder gets a little triggered when he finds out the guy is a cryptozoologist. And if you don't know what that is, then you're on the wrong channel. But he goes on about someone stealing his Wanshang dhole, which is a type of dog thought to be long extinct. How Detweiler of all people managed to get his hands on one is anyone's guess. Maybe he Jurassic Parked it.
No, let me assure you, this is not a predatory animal.
Where's Officer Khan? I just got a report on the radio, some kind of vicious dog attack in Bellflower.
Well, that aged like milk. The agents investigate the man who was mauled to death earlier, and Scully comes to the conclusion that he must have stolen the dog and it turned on him. I guess he was customs or whatever, but can't it just be a spooky dog, Scully?
So you're talking about a dog that has human intelligence?
I don't know why this is so crazy. I've seen plenty of dogs that are far more intelligent than the average person. I mean, have you seen people these days? Scully's like, alright, say it's a dog that knows how to cover its tracks. How do you suppose we find it? And of course, Mulder has some spooky weirdo on speed dial. No, not her. Karen isn't exactly a people person, but I like how without knowing a thing about her, Scully already starts getting snarky. I mean, even before she meets the woman, Scully's already ripping on her.
You sure this woman's not an authority on bats?
Aaron Berkowitz knows more about...
She's kind of a weirdo, though. I mean, when she enters the room, she doesn't even acknowledge that Mulder and Scully are there. Though I do wish I had her same friend group. I don't know why they even visit her, though. All she says is the Wanshang dhole is extinct, and then she leaves. I mean, they got that same info from Detweiler.
She's a friend of yours?
Oh, we met online.
Online.
Two professionals exchanging information.
I don't understand the jealousy, like, no offense to this woman, but come on. In the meantime, a dog catcher is doing his thing when he finds a human hand. Wait, didn't Scully say the customs agent had his bit off by the dhole?
In this case, it bit off the man's hand.
Oh hey, there's the spooky doggo now. That's an odd looking shadow for a dog. Nice try, X-Files, but I know a puppet when I see one. Con is a little upset because his buddy was killed by this dog, and Karen walks in looking super homeless, by the way, because she finds the whole thing, as she puts it, uplifting. Leave it to a Karen to be happy when someone gets mauled by an evil dog.
I'm joking.
I somehow don't believe her. Detweiler shows up and goes on about how he can't find any prints or clues that it was his dog. But Karen actually brings up a good point. How the hell did he catch this thing to begin with? I mean, it's super stealthy and can seem to disappear at a moment's notice. What if it's actually Dracula? Think about it. It arrives in a crate, attacks its victims with a bite, can seemingly shapeshift, and hey, maybe it can turn into mist too. Anyway, Khan's had enough of his people dying, so he's decided he's switching to live rounds.
You scared me. You kill that dog, and I'll kill you.
You know, I'm starting to think Detweiler might know what's going on. Unlike Detweiler, Karen was actually able to find some tracks.
He's got a vestigial toe pad on his front paws, right there.
Yeah, the dog has 5 toes for some reason. But again, Scully, why are we getting jealous? Although I don't know if it's so much jealousy as it is Scully thinking Karen brought Mulder out here because she has some ulterior motive. She was the one who told Mulder about the case.
Actually, it's not an assumption. She is the one who told me about this case.
Oh, so you two are chummy.
I love how Scully's focus has become less about the mysterious deaths and more about another woman encroaching on her territory. Meanwhile, at the local animal clinic, the goodest boy, Duke, doesn't seem to be a fan of Detweiler's, and well, who can blame him?
Duke, enough!
Can't you control your dog?
Oh, that's right, I forgot. It's Duke going around and murdering people and not your Wang Shang, whatever the hell it's called. Detweiler grabs some tranquilizers and then heads back home because he's got a mattress to move. All the dogs at the vet start losing their minds, and well, look who it is. Sure doesn't look like Duke to me. Backup arrives and you just know Khan is itching to pull that trigger.
See him!
See? He didn't even hesitate. Oh no, not Duke. Now make sure to take your time there, Mr. Veterinarian. You know, if Big Mike were here, this would have never happened. Mulder and Scully arrive on the scene, and you know what's interesting? It's raining, and Scully doesn't have an umbrella. Yet earlier in the episode, it wasn't raining, and she did. Does she not know how umbrellas work? Man, Duke is quite the trooper. I have no idea how he survived that. They better not blame this one on Duke. Mulder pulls his gun not because the vet was killed, but because he still has PTSD after what Beethoven did to him.
I pitched in college.
Scully decides to have a little girl-to-girl with Karen.
Systemic lupus erythematosus.
Lupus, from the Latin for wolf.
Oh my god, she's a werewolf? This whole interaction between these two women is very odd. It all basically boils down to Scully's need to protect Mulder from Karen. But what exactly does Scully think Karen is gonna do? So she sent him this case so she could see him. That doesn't mean he's gonna drop everything for her. Plus, if he did, why would it matter? It's not like Mulder and Scully are actually a thing. Plus, like I said, no offense to this lady, but it's not exactly like we have a Bambi situation on our hands.
Her name is Bambi?
While Scully threatens a poor woman with no social skills, Mulder's calling up Khan and asking him to check something out for him. Khan won't be making that meeting, however, because Moron forgot to check the back seat. Well that's interesting, but how does Detweiler always seem to be at the right place at the right time?
I'd heard what had happened. I didn't know how bad he would be. I thought I might get a description of the animal.
Shouldn't you already know? I mean, you did catch the damn thing. Mulder's not exactly buying Detweiler's story, and get this, thinks Detweiler is the dog. I mean, oh Mulder, you and your crazy theories. We know he couldn't possibly be a shape-shifting dog because he's currently Uncle Frank.
Come to Daddy.
I protected you as long as I could. I won't any longer.
See, at least Scully kinda sorta has a reason to be protective of Mulder, because obviously Karen knows what's going on. She could have told Mulder from the beginning, but nah, let's keep that a secret. Oh, that spooky shape-shifting dog? He's definitely not the guy you've been talking to this whole time. Karen tells Mulder, hey, you know the guy that just got attacked? Con something? Yeah, Detweiler's going back to finish the job.
Through some blood curse, this man undergoes some kind of nocturnal transformation.
So what is he gonna do? Walk in here, skitter across the linoleum, and pee in the corners?
You know, Scully, it's not exactly the first time you've dealt with a furry shapeshifter. Maybe drop the skepticism just a bit. Though Scully is still more worried about Karen's desire for Mulder. How long until Scully marks her territory? Usually I like to close my doors all the way. Now what could she need that for? If leaving your front door is all it takes to invite strange dogs over, I would never close my front door again. You know, I'm not exactly sure what she's trying to prove here. Alright, so Mulder and Scully show up and Karen and Detweiler are both dead. But where the hell did Detweiler get those pants? Do the pants change when he does too? Mulder's then upset for some reason. I mean, this is the first we've ever heard of this woman and now he's suddenly all torn up? The weirdest part is when Mulder opens up a package from her revealing the I want to believe poster. But when the hell did she send that? Did she know she was going to die? So hey, might as well do it now. Wouldn't it make more sense and be more meaningful if Scully got him the poster? Alpha sure is an odd episode. Not the worst thing, but it's not exactly great either. So far, it might be the worst episode of the season, but I don't think it's as bad as the killer kitty cat episode Teso dos Bichos from season 3. But we've had killer cats, now killer dogs. It feels like we're going through all the family pets. What's next? Killer bunny rabbits? What do you say about this one? The shape-shifting dog is sort of a neat idea, though it feels rather similar to the 1981 horror film Wolfen, which was about Native Americans transforming into wolves. It's not exactly the same, obviously, but it does give me those vibes. The whole Karen trying to seduce Mulder subplot is kind of odd, especially considering she has to compete with Scully of all people. Also, I think the real alpha in the episode is Scully, because it's pretty clear that she was ready to fight at a moment's notice. The one thing I always did enjoy about the episode was seeing Andrew Robinson as Detweiler, because I'm a pretty big fan of the original Hellraiser movie, so it's always fun when he pops up. But overall, the episode is very mid. It's watchable, I like the dogs, but it's not a favorite.
You're not gonna tell me that a dog did this.
Bad dog.
The whole idea for Alpha actually started as an index card posted in Jeffrey Bell's office, which read "Scary Dogs in the City." That was it. Bell was a first-year staff writer at the time, and for months that was basically just a throwaway idea. Then by late 1998, those words slowly turned into a full standalone episode. Bell said the inspiration hit him one day when he saw a pack of dogs hanging out near a freeway in downtown LA just surviving on their own. Nobody owned them, nobody was taking care of them, but they were clearly doing fine. And he started wondering how? How does that even work? He pitched this really loose concept early in the season, and then one day he looks up from his computer and realizes, oh great, this thing I barely understand is now scheduled as episode 16. So he goes into panic mode and starts chasing story ideas like crazy. And by his own admission, he pursued them all straight into dead ends. One version was basically a dark reversal of The Incredible Journey, where a family moves 3,000 miles to escape their killer pet, only for the dog to show up at the new house absolutely furious. Another idea was closer to DPO or The Rain King, a kid who works at the dog pound and for some reason is completely emotionless, but the dogs sort of become his emotion and anger. Interesting ideas, but Bell realized that none of them really had the kind of visuals you need for the X-Files. That's when Frank Spotnitz stepped in and suggested the dog escaping from the ship, which basically cracked the episode open. Spotnitz also came up with the idea of Mulder having this weird little online connection with Karen. By the time that idea landed, it was already January 2nd, and pre-production was starting January 21st. So in classic X-Files fashion, Bell basically threw the script out and started over from scratch, while the rest of the writing staff continuously reworked it right up until shooting began on February 2nd. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, the production crew was quietly losing their minds trying to figure out how to safely make an episode about killer dogs. Executive producer Michael Watkins straight up called it a nightmare. They auditioned tons of supposedly trained German shepherds, wolves, and wolf hybrids, and some of these trainers were not great. One demonstrated control by yanking on massive choke chains and waving an axe handle around. Another suggested wiring the cast and crew with electrical shock devices so they could zap the dogs if things went sideways. At the last possible moment, they hired Clint Rowe, a skilled and humane trainer who had actually sold border collies to both Chris Carter and Frank Spotnitz in real life. He brought 3 Malamute hybrids, Flame, Ellie, and Kichi, and suddenly everything went like clockwork. And thankfully, all the animal sequences were filmed safely without anyone actually getting mauled. Casting Karen was its own ordeal. Casting director Rick Milliken said they saw a lot of women for the role, and it wasn't until the day before her first scene that they finally cast Melinda Kulia, who just happened to be married to the episode's director, Peter Markle. You know, I'm starting to understand why Mulder was suddenly infatuated with this random woman. On the sound side, producer Paul Rabwin supervised the animal audio. On other episodes, they'd used human voice actors for growls and barks, but this time they decided real animal sounds were creepy enough on their own. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure they used Frank Welker for cat sounds and Teso dos Bichos. They probably should have just called him again. The creature itself is based on the real dhole, a wild dog from southern Asia. Red fur, fox-like, extremely social pack animal. It also has some wild vocalizations, whistling, screaming, even clucking like a chicken. And apparently it can pee while doing a handstand on its front legs. Oh, whoop-de-doo. I've been peeing while standing for like 38 years. One little goof that I noticed, but when Mulder meets Scully at the hospital, he says it's not yet dark, but the exterior shot of the hospital literally seconds earlier shows that it is very much dark. There was also an alternate ending which you can find on the Season 6 DVDs. In that version, Khan is lying in his hospital bed, turns toward the camera, and reveals glowing red eyes, implying that he'd been taken over by the dhole. Frank Spotnitz said they talked about that ending a lot, but ultimately decided to go with Mulder looking at the returned I Wanna Believe poster instead because it felt more emotional and more specific to the episode. The red eyes ending felt like something the show had already done plenty of times by this point. That said though, I still think it should have been Scully that gets him the poster. Alpha currently sits at 6.4 on IMDb. It's watchable but not great, so I think a 6 is fair. Up next, Mulder and Scully track down a convict who can seemingly walk through solid objects. In the episode, Trevor. So what do you think about Alpha? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're doing well and stay spooky.
It knows your strength. It knows your weakness. It knows your fear.
You don't believe it, do you?
It survived because it was more cunning than man.
You can't hide.
You know very well that it can't be caught.
The X-Files at 9/8 Central, Fox Sunday.
Huge thanks to all my channel members. You're the real MVPs of the Spooky Squad. Your support helps keep the lights flickering and the monsters fed. If you'd like to join up and help support the channel, check out the join button below. But no pressure, just watching and liking helps a ton too.